So let's put a perspective on SNAP benefits because we've seen a lot of videos about you're lazy, you suck. Mostly they're racist because they say black people are on SNAP. By the way, 34% of SNAP benefits go to white people. Now I don't care, honestly. You guys make it an issue because you're into that 1980s tropes of the welfare queens that the Reagan administration came up with because that was the way they got away to you to buy into the trickle down theory. It's never worked. But if you want to put it in perspective, because everyone is trying to defend what Kajanji Braun did and saying that this is for the long term, I still can't buy into it. Okay, I know you're trying to defend your girl, but she went law over morality, and to me, that's wrong. If there was going to be a fight in the Supreme Court over him, over Trump's being able to move money around, fine. But for the immediate, people needed to eat. So play your games, okay? Play your games. I'm not, and it's not fear mongering. Sorry, Miss T, not fear mongering. We're just like, it's wrong. It was wrong, okay? You could fight that fight later, but I'll digress from that. So I just ran across a live, and they had a headline in the back that a lot of lives can do, which I could. I wish I could do that. I can't do that shit. And it said that North Carolina is pausing SNAP benefits distribution. So I went and looked it up, and it wasn't the idea that they're pausing SNAP benefits because it said they started then they stopped because they had started once the appeals court said no, no, we're going to let him stay. We're upholding the Rhode Island decision. Then he ran to the Supreme Court. They are ready to start the process, but by 9:38 yesterday, they on Saturday they stopped it. On Friday, I'm sorry, and that's North Carolina stopped it. Now that's a red state, kind of, but I'm gonna say red state. And but like states like California, Oregon, I believe Washington, all the blue states, a lot of blue states were able to get their EBT out because well they got money. They're not donor states. North Carolina is a taker state. But the one thing that bugged me in reading that article, and this also goes back to what I read about Louisiana, and this tells you that there is a problem here, not with people not having jobs, but with people not having good paying jobs, and the cost of things, and the circumstances. 13% of the population in North Carolina are on SNAP. 13%. It's 18% in the state of Louisiana. Okay? I find that hard to believe that say that 13% of your population are a bunch of freeloaders. Same for Louisiana. 18% of your population are freeloaders. Here in the state of Georgia, 1.3 million people are on SNAP. Okay? And the governor here says we're not going to use any of the $14 billion in reserve to make sure these people have food. It's a Republican governor. Okay. The point being is that with all this in the SNAP and all these things with the shutdown, using food as a fucking political weapon is what Trump and the Republicans have done to try to guilt the Democrats into giving them a clean CR so they can fuck us some more. Okay? All right? Is the loss of the fact that why are 13% of the population in North Carolina and 18% of the population in Louisiana needing food assistance? And I don't know what the stats for the other states, and if you see this video and you know, and you want to lay them out, go ahead. But do you see what the issue is? Okay? Meanwhile, the Trump regime, through the IRS, is creating more loopholes for rich people, very rich people, and corporations to avoid paying taxes. Okay? They're laying off people right now. My boss got terminated for business sake, even though he was a good performer, a good earner. Okay? There are 1.8 million jobs lost. Layoffs are up by 183%. The minimum wage hasn't been moved for decades. This is why you see those numbers. Also, North Carolina, Louisiana, you've been under mostly Republican leadership for decades. They don't bring in industry. They don't work for the workers. They work for the very rich. The plantation owners have never left the South, if you know what I mean. Okay? And the rich get richer, the poor get poor, and then when they just need the government to make up, because the government has allowed oligarchs and the corporations to take advantage of the working poor or workers, period. They say, you're lazy, get another job, blah, 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 blah. You see, we're talking about SNAP as we're treating the symptom, but not the disease. The disease is an unfair balance of wealth in this country. The disease is corporations thinking only about their stockholders, not their stakeholders, which includes the workers. All right? The disease is the ultra rich getting richer and richer and not wanting to pay their fair share. Because even if they pay their fair share, if they paid a portion of fair share, they still be making money hand over fist. But the rest of us could take advantage of and build up, as Biden said, from the bottom out, the middle out. Do you remember that? No, you don't. Because you got caught by that con man saying, I'm going to fix everything. Now, he's done everything to give to the very, very rich, still doing it. And now that those consequences have come to roost, still fucking you. If it ain't your food, it's your health care. But you have to ask, again, why are we treating the symptom and not the disease? And the way to treat the disease is to get rid of MAGA, Trump, and the Republican Party's version of trickle-down economics and return to an economic plan that helps everyone and rebuilds the middle class. That's how you treat the disease. But right now, the symptoms we're trying to treat. But we have someone in the White House who's like is a virus. And every time we try to fix it, it mutates, i.e. the Supreme Court ruling last night. So again, we have to ask ourselves, not about affordability, but finally, for God Almighty's sake, people, now that you're sharing in it, when are you going to understand that the disease is not culture war or right versus left? The disease is the ultra rich taking advantage of the poor because they don't see us as human beings but as serfs. Once you get to that realization, you understand that this is where the fight is, and stop fighting amongst each other and fighting above us.